Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Room Rumble. This one isn't really a rumble. I'm going to say that up front. Really, it is me having, as the title says, a meaningful conversation. It was a good conversation. It was two people with really different perspectives, and there was Logan, who is Gangster Ghost, there for a while, but he did dip out. Logan's pretty quiet, good person, pretty quiet though. So this got a bit of notoriety among the Christian circles that Missing Mod runs in, and I really did enjoy this conversation with Missing Mod. It was very civil, very sort of, we both had our own perspective, and I really did enjoy it. I don't think it was a classic Room Rumble, but I'm going to throw it under there because I did sort of duck in without warning, as you'll probably see. But it did get notoriety because I went in with an unusual username. So first off, I went in as Bigfoot Jesus, and this got some Christians very, very mad because they thought I was mocking the Jesus figure that they believe in and not the people that literally believe that Jesus was Bigfoot. So this is what they had to say.
I just want to share this. This guy, Mark Reid, came on to somebody's show yesterday. I'm going to show a screenshot. And look at
what show.
Huh?
Yesterday?
Yeah, he was on Missing Mod show. But look how he comes on. To me, this is like complete mockery, and I wouldn't have stood for it. But I'm not knocking him for that. I'm just saying he shouldn't be mocking my Lord like that. I'm gonna show you a screenshot. You see his name there? This will not fly if he came onto my channel. He don't. I know he get away with someone with her. But you can't do that with me. You can't come out mocking my Lord like that. It's not going to happen. You're going to have more respect if you're going to come and speak to me. So this is who Mark Reid is, I believe. But I just wanted to point that out.
Well, they can gather there. They can gather there where the one that is pretending to give us lecturing on which Bible to read and that we shouldn't test it with the Greek or the Hebrew because we don't have that right. And telling us all the other things about what true theology is and what a true Christian is, they can go at her channel and enjoy reading the Necronomicon with her because I don't like these people.
So by these people, I presume that he's referring to atheists and sort of those Christians that will allow atheists to come on and say things. Now, I do want to say this Room Rumble that I did on Missing Mods was about where did you first hear of Kent Hovind? So it was all about that. We got into other topics, but I dislike that she is being held accountable for something I've done. That just does not make me feel good. And I think that they, I don't mind them having all the problems in the world with me, but, why attack her for simply having on a cheeky Australian atheist? I don't know. But they do go.
But when it comes to the specific person, both you and Stump have the right to an opinion, and so do I. And my opinion is that if somebody has around 200 videos focused on making fun of Stephen, Stump, me, Lupin, or anyone in the show, I'm not gonna even deal with them. I mean.
So I don't know where they get the idea from that I have 200 videos attacking simply them. I've got 200 plus videos. I'm not sure how many it is now. Well, there's one more for the tally, but if they're not all attacking these gentlemen at all. Most of them are focused on debates and reviewing debates and debates between Christians and atheists. Debates between flat earthers and real scientists. The idea that all of my videos are focused on them seems to be really egocentric and really, I don't think they've actually looked through my videos. I think they've just only seen the ones that pertain to them. I must only have like 3, 4, 5 on them. I mean, I don't know how many it is exactly, but it's not that many. I think they're really being sort of dramatic here and stretching the you've got 200 videos, they must all be about us. No, they're really not. Look again, they're not about.
I agree with you, but I understand someone claims that he has a little bit of issue. You know,
Yeah, but the issue,
I don't want to speak badly about anybody who has issues like that, but
well, but
I
the
believe
issue that
that other people control him.
Okay, you got me. I'm being controlled. Sure, you got me. All right, you've totally found me out. Who's controlling me? Is it NASA? No, no, not NASA. Is it the Illuminati? No, it's not the Illuminati either. But you caught me. It is, of course, Bigfoot Jesus. Yes, Bigfoot Jesus tells me exactly what to say at all times. I get a script from Bigfoot Jesus each week that tells me what to say. I mean, what is this? This stump person. I've met him like 3 times maybe, or something around that. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know a thing about me. Says I have issues. I'd like to know what issues he imagines that I have. He doesn't know me. Doesn't know anything about me. He's just making statements from ignorance. And I don't know why. I don't know why he would claim to have this insider knowledge of someone that he barely knows, that he's met a few times, and certainly not even in a social context, in a sort of discussion about theology context. It's very, very strange that they claim to have knowledge of me, which is, it's weird. It's unsettling. It's kind of funny. I won't lie. It is kind of funny that they do think they know all about me. But yeah, they'll still go on. So let's go back.
A bit, and they tell him what to say and what to do, and he wants to be fit in as a person that he is. He wants to fit in, and that's the reason why I give him a benefit of the doubt. But I agree with you 100%. A lot of that is like, it's overwhelming. It's like it doesn't stop. But I think that's the way he fits in with the crowd.
I haven't seen any videos mocking those that he likes, though. So he's clearly showing who he likes and who he doesn't like. I don't care about your mental stability, but I care about what you are doing against those who are actually trying to get the gospel across. And if you are against them, I'm against you. So I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not gonna fix this kind of problems.
So sometimes the claims made by people deserve to be mocked, and that's the truth of it. Sometimes when people literally say that Jesus was Bigfoot, that deserves a mocking. And the thing is that you are saying, oh, you're not mocking the people who are against you, but I have been critical of people who are atheists and people that sort of do have the same position as me, that do weird things. But you guys, I am a counter apologist. Like, why would I be going out of my way to attack my own position? I mean, I can. It's just, that's not what my channel does, because I don't believe my position is bad. I believe that the position that the universe was created by a magic man, there's talking snakes, there's talking donkeys, that's the position I'm going to mock because it's ridiculous. And the whole idea that I should be, why don't you guys mock yourselves? Why don't you talk critically about yourselves? And this idea that I have some sort of issue because I don't agree with you, this is really ridiculous. It's really funny that these guys are talking like they're knowledgeable about anything in my life. Is actually hilarious, and it just shows you the level of how people talk from ignorance. They've got no idea what's going on, don't like something that I did, and suddenly I'm under control. I'm just trying to fit in, and I've got all of these issues that make me do it. Don't be ridiculous. You don't know anything about me. And the idea that you think you do is ludicrous. I'm going to mock that because it is worth mocking that you think you know who I am.
There have been, I can count 50 times that we've said the same things to the same persons and they keep on doing what they're doing. So I don't see any point any longer. I would just click ban, and continue on.
Well, there's the only point I see. I agree with you most part. The only point I see is if you're trying to open up your show back to these atheists to come in and debate and all this and that, then you have to discuss what's going on. And like, for instance, I've heard many times, Mark Reid is he's cool. He's never, but then he comes on with a mocking phrase right from the beginning on that show. He couldn't get away with it here, so he does it over there. I don't think he's the guy that everyone believes he is. So, I mean, that's the reason to discuss it, because we're allowing people back on. And actually, that show you guys did last time I thought was really good. So I think it's important to understand where certain people come from when you.
So keep in mind, all of this is over me using Bigfoot Jesus as a pseudonym to come into Missing Mod's show, and they misunderstood, and they thought I was mocking Jesus, when in fact I was mocking the people that believed that Jesus was Bigfoot. So all of this, sort of understanding of who I am and what I'm doing comes from them not understanding the actual joke. That's all that it comes from. And it is incredible to see these people make these wide sweeping generalizations on them not understanding the joke. This is really for the Christians that say, judge not, yes, let ye be judged. They are some of the most judgmental people I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, we've had someone's controlling me. I'm trying to fit in with the atheist community for some reason that I don't fit in. It's baffling. And that somehow I've got mental health issues. And the idea that you're telling people the same thing again and again, and they should believe you as to that is the truth. If they still disagree that that's not the truth, why should they agree with you? But the problem here is this particular bunch of Christians have this almost a presupposition that they are 100% right. There's nothing, they're absolutely correct. They have absolute truth. And they don't. They just don't. But, it just shows, even though they say they're open-minded, they're not open-minded. They're closed-minded. If they tell you what the truth is, and you don't believe them, they get angry at you for not believing them, even though they're not giving sufficient evidence for anybody to believe them. So it's kind of wild, right? But we're here for a wild ride.
So
Amen. Yeah, I'm not even saying that you have to do that. But that could be a good idea. But I'm just saying that we have to understand who people are behind what they pretend to be. Like what was that you call them? Achilles hypocrites with their masks.
Exactly.
There's a lot of them out there that are hypocrites with masks on and come in here pretending to be something else. And it's okay. I mean, even if what's the worst they can do? Just say something we don't like. But I'm just saying, we should. The only reason why I discuss things like this, and you're right, I'm tired of it too. That's why I'm done with all that with that missing mind woman. She can do what she wants, go where she wants. I just want to say that I'm leaving all that behind. So
it's mentally draining. I'd rather save my mental, because you could watch some of that stuff just to listen to what they say about you, because they're going to be talking about you. You watch it and then they just throw mud all over your name constantly and everything like that. And it's like you want to respond to it.
Yes, they sound like a real bunch of real open-minded people who don't judge at all and don't make up issues that somebody has. Look, I've been very open with the issues that I have, and they're not mental illness, they're neurological. So ADHD and autistic spectrum disorder. Those are the two things, but they're neurological. They're not issues like they're trying to suggest. So this is sort of just a bunch of people who don't like what I've got to say, making up stuff about me, that I'm being controlled, that I'm just trying to fit in. I hate to break it to these fine gentlemen. I'm usually the ringleader in all of this kind of stuff. Or maybe I like to see myself as the ringleader, one of the two. But I don't get controlled and told what to say by anybody, except for maybe Bigfoot Jesus. So, take it for what you want. But let's go on to the actual conversation, because this was interesting to me, at least, and I had a good conversation. And this was, where did you first hear about Kent Hovind, and did it change your life? And the answer to at least one question in there. But the conversation covered a lot of topics, and I spoke on my life and things that I had been through in my life, and Missing Mod spoke about her life and things that we found some common ground in things that we'd experienced, and I think it was a good conversation. It maybe wouldn't live up to a room rumble, but if you want the drama is there. It just was not from what I said and what I my positions that I took, but rather just a picture and a name that wasn't even mocking what these people thought I was mocking. So I will have another Room Rumble coming out soon. It'll be a follow-up. I'll explain that as well. But yeah, this was an odd time. It was kind of funny to me, and quite frankly, one of the people, Dustin, he'll be in the next one. I kind of made him really uncomfortable by saying, "Hey, you were wrong about what I was mocking. I wasn't mocking Christians. I was mocking two Christians that believed that Jesus was Bigfoot, which if you don't think that idea should be mocked and you think it should be taken seriously, I would disagree." But anyway, let's get ready to rumble.
Bigfoot Jesus. Oh boy. Hello. Oh.
Hello.
Bigfoot Jesus.
Oh.
How are you?
Yeah, very well. How's yourself?
Hi, Mark Reid.
Hello.
Bomb's uncle.
I can't wait to hear your story. How you first found Kent.
No, continue on with what you're saying.
Bomb's
I'm just trying out new headsets or headphones. They're really good.
Oh.
Bomb's uncle?
I seen your stream the other day about Bigfoot and them crazy people. I don't know. Maybe they're not crazy. I don't know.
They were something. I don't know what they were. They were certainly something. But we had a good laugh. It was funny. The fact that they thought the Bible was the mark of the beast. It's just so good. Like they were just so funny.
Yeah,
how you doing,
that is.
Anyway?
I'm good.
How's your Christmas?
Just,
Happy Christmas
it was,
and everything.
You too.
And you too, Gangster Ghost.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad it's over. That's all I do know.
Yeah,
Holidays,
we kind of.
Are you there?
Yeah, I had to go see my. Yeah, we can hear you, GG.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to go see my in-laws and stuff, which wasn't too bad. It's just they live out of the city, so it was sort of a country trip. But it's not too bad. It's once a year, so that's all right.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, family. That's always fun. Most of my family's doing something else. I don't know what they were doing, but.
Oh, it's just my wife has to go back to where she grew up, and that's always it's always a weird feeling when you go back to, like, my parents passed away, but it's weird when you go back to the home that you grew up in. You feel like a kid again. I know that feeling, and it's a horrible feeling. Like you feel like you're being around and stuff like that, even though you're an adult. Not sure if there's a way to avoid that, but that's okay.
Oh, well, that's kind of a sad thing that you feel that way.
Really? Well, I don't feel that way. Just she does. That's all.
Oh.
Yeah, it's my in-laws, so it's not. My parents died ages ago, so yeah, like it's just seeing her parents basically.
You look young. Your parents died too?
Me? I'm 47.
You don't look 47.
I know. My brother's the same. It must be genetic or something. Like he looks really young as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
50. Can you believe that? It's okay. It's just it's life.
Well, 50 is still kind of young.
I
mean, you're halfway there. But, well, when you get 70, you'll think
how you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I want to be like you meet these people that are like older, and they're just very, that they don't care about what people think, and they just sort of that level of immaturity you can have when you're old. That's the kind of old person that I want to be. Just laugh at things that and have a good time. That would be great. That's my idea of a good old age.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I do that now. I just don't take anything serious most of the time.
No, that's probably a good idea. I don't know. I do. I like having conversations and stuff, serious conversation. But I don't take on board what people are sort of, placing on me. I'll decide my own terms. I think is the best thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was rewatching the stream that you came on the other day, and it was like really good. I mean, we had a great conversation, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Actually, I didn't do that as a room rumble. I should put that up as a room rumble. Would you mind if I did that? Like, just grabbed it off your time? I
No.
wasn't recording it or anything, and I'm not recording this. But I probably should be if I was like an actual professional or something. But I'm so not. So, but yeah,
You do
I'll certainly
great.
credit your channel and I always credit where I've come from in the stream and everything. Of course, I'll do that because that's important.
That's kind of scary though, man. You got some scary people in your chat. That's why I'm like, I try to
No,
just. I don't know. They're
scary.
Well, actually, I talked to is I Killed Earl show up in your chat too? She's got a wrench, right?
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Okay. Because I talked to her the other day, and yeah, that was nice. So yeah, I guess I'm not that scared.
Yeah,
I just,
she's awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome. And Big Bad Mama's in my chat all the time. The worst you're going to find who is probably Beamsy, who's just makes horrendously inappropriate jokes. But that's Beamsy, and we love him. He doesn't mean harm by it. It's just So he was blown halfway to heck in like he worked on a Navy ship and it blew up kind of thing and really rattled him. So he has a warped sense of humor now, which is kind of hilarious. But no, my chat's lovely. My chat's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Do you find that? Are you intimidated by that? Is it that people will start sort of saying, "Oh, you believe in this and you believe in that," and sort of attacking you? Is that what?
Yeah, because there's just no way. There's no way to defend it. Like it just isn't gonna work. Especially in a chat that's geared towards not.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I mean, I get in there and mess around. I just don't want to make any enemies any more than I already have.
Well, I think that sort of atheists, I think generally we're like ready to let, we don't hassle people, but we get hassled basically, and that's where most of my bone of contention comes from. That people try to tell me what to do and try to tell me what the shape of the earth is like and what's going on in science and stuff. And I think that's where we have the bone of contention. I mean, this is about Kent, right? And that's a prime example of somebody sort of telling me what the science behind evolution is and doesn't even understand the principles of it, which is it's kind of that's where you'll get pushback. Belief in stuff is perfectly fine. Like I can go, okay, you want to believe in that no problem. In fact, I just saw my sister and my brother. And they're very religious. They're in the Catholic Church, so but they can believe whatever they want. I don't try to convince them otherwise. It's when people are telling me factual things about, say, the age of the Earth or other things that are factually incorrect. That's probably where you'll find pushback, especially if, like Kent, they want to take evolution out of the schools, and that's a problem because that's along with germ theory of disease, that's kind of the backbone of medical science. So I view that as very dangerous.
Did you already say when you first discovered Kent?
Oh no! Well, see, the thing is, Kent's a funny one because I don't, I mean, this might be rude, but I don't take him seriously. He's kind of a I mean, I hate to be rude, but he's kind of a lolcow to me. He's kind of sort of funny. He the first time I heard about him was when he was being busted for the tax evasion and structuring. And that's the first, like, I'd heard about him beforehand and I didn't give him a great deal of credence. And then, he was busted and thrown in jail for, I think, 10 years or something. For structuring and tax avoidance. So that's the first time I heard about him. And, I sort of heard about him like you hear about, what was that guy's name? Ted Haggett, I think his name was, the guy that got busted with hookers and blow, who was a pastor kind of thing. And it's like, oh yeah, that'd be right. Yeah, his name was Ted Haggett.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So what made you want to start a channel and start doing what you're doing?
I was forced into starting a channel. Peter DeTucker just would not leave me alone. He basically bullied me into starting a channel. So I had gone on modern day debate. I really liked modern day. I liked the debates they were doing. I liked the debates they were getting into, and I really enjoyed the back and forth. And so I was known as a regular, that like sort of just in the chat kind of thing. And then Leo Filius, you know Leo Filius?
Yep. Yeah,
He
he's the
didn't show up for a debate.
he's the guy
Yeah,
that's good with
guy.
like what?
Yeah, physics
What,
and
Logan?
astronomy and
Mark.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
night, Steven had a show where he took on Claude and them about evolution. So they said they want to know where you seen last night. They wanted you on there too.
Oh, I don't think I got anything, but that's okay. I mean, I can come on and talk to him about evolution. That's not a problem.
Yeah, they say that they always try to say you guys are always on there at Bible study, no other time. What Steven said.
Well, yeah, I think that you know, he runs it like he has like I think I saw Ryan was doing a show, and I think when Ryan or Stump is doing shows, they don't have atheists. They have people who want to study the Bible. I got no problem with that. That's their house, their rules. They can do that if they want. I got no problem whatsoever with it. No problem at all. I know that once I dropped by and he said, "I'll come tomorrow," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll see if I can." I didn't make it. It's not like I go out of my way to, you know, lurk over their room like a vulture to jump in. It's not, you know, I just if I see him on, I'll drop in. You know, that's essentially how I roll. But if they want to, you know, have a Bible study for Christians, I've got no problem with that whatsoever. No problem.
Yeah, Steven accused me of working for the atheists. He's crazy.
Well, the pay must be terrible because I am an atheist and the pay is terrible. So, you know, you must be getting a pittance because, yeah, I don't know. I like, but you know, Kent's a funny one. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to go on and talk to Steve about evolution. It's just a lot of the time he sort of has a real funny idea of what evolution is, and a lot of people really misunderstand it. Like they think it's just all for one, like you just destroy everything you can just for yourself, and that's not how it works. Social species don't engage in that kind of things. Like you don't see a flock of pelicans or a flock of flamingos, and they'll just fight among one another. That's not how it works. Social species work together, so the species as a whole, even with the sacrifice of some of its members, the species as a whole does better. So but they sort of break it down to this, oh well, everyone will just kill. No, that's not how social species work. But it's okay. I'm happy to talk to them. Thanks to Ghost.
Yeah, they said if evolution's true, why don't monkeys nowadays turn into human?
Well, it's really funny because chimpanzees are kind of going through a stone age at the moment. They're kind of making stone tools, and some of those stone tools are being passed down to their descendants. They're giving these stone tools. It's unclear whether they came up with these by themselves or whether they copied maybe human doing it or something like that. But they kind of are slowly developing tool use, very, very slowly. But it's interesting. Chimpanzees are fascinating because their short-term memory is so much better than ours. Like, look up a chimpanzee's short-term memory sometime. It's insane how much they remember. You know, you remember the patterns, like, you know, red, red, blue, or whatever. They can just remember that stuff insanely well. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, the title of the show says that atheism isn't real. That he said.
Well, what do you mean atheism isn't real? I mean, it's sort of a position. Well, it's not really a real concrete thing. It's a position on a proposition. So the proposition is there a God, and atheism says no. I mean, it's not really, it'd be like sort of saying, hey, your non-belief in Santa isn't real. It's like, well, what does that even mean at that point?
It's weird. They were crazy last night. I couldn't believe every time he talks, it makes me laugh. He's just so funny. He says, overlords. He said, YouTube channel going down. And the other time he said, Thomas Paine. So funny. You know, Thomas Paine? He called him Thomas Paine. Thomas.
Thomas Paine. Look, I'm the last person that should be making fun of accents, but I still do some. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Bombs the uncle.
I never realized that I had a slight accent until I started making videos, and then I'm like, why is there? Wait, I don't have a country accent, do I? I guess I do.
Yeah, you do. What state are you from? What accent is that?
Florida.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So everybody's got an accent. It's just they don't sound like it to themselves. That's all.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I listened to Billy, Truck Driving Billy, and I'm like, man, that's a thick drawl right there. And then he's like, oh, you sound just like the rest of us. And I'm like, no way. So then I start listening, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, gotcha.
I like the Australian accents. That's probably, because every time I hear like somebody from I don't know, like England or something like that, it just sounds. I can understand why the Tower of Babel was such a pain. I just feel like I don't know, they're not speaking my language or something. Obviously, people in England are speaking my language, but the words mean different things over there, like slang terms and stuff.
Well,
yeah,
but Australians have Australian English is more like English than American English.
Yeah, but see, I didn't even know what Bob's your uncle means. I still don't really know what that means. Oh yeah, that's right. You told me.
I think gangsters can probably tell you. No, I don't know. It's I don't mind. English accents can vary wildly though.
Oh, my friend in the UK told me what that meant. That it was this guy who their uncle was Bob, so they got special treatment, I guess. So that's where they got that name, Bob's uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another thing.
Cool.
Fanny's your aunt. You ever heard of that?
I always think about I don't know. Accents are cool though. I think that's pretty cool. I just think it's all pretty cool. But I don't know anything for sure.
So for my Christmas stream, I did an entire stream in a grey wig and glasses, pretending to be Kent Hovind. It was so funny.
I think I caught a little bit of it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm terrible with accents, and the accent was terrible. It's just I don't know. I just found it funny, mostly because it would annoy him. Like if someone copied me, I would just laugh my ass off, but it would annoy him. And the fact that I was playing a video game would also annoy him, because apparently he hates video games. I don't know why. It's this weird thing.
I don't know. I know Claude, when he first went on to Steven's stream, one of Steven's streams, he was I was like, hey, ask him if he could do an American accent. And when he did, it made me laugh so hard. I was like, I love this guy now.
Yeah.
It's so funny to hear anybody with an accent do an American accent. And they always have a Southern twang too. I'm like, is that what they
That's the easiest one to copy? That's the easiest one to copy. That's why.
Oh man. Yeah.
Mark Reid before they were famous. Well,
Mark.
You could spell my name right for a start, but that's okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, mate. I am not famous, so it's before.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
would you
what
ever
you're
like
saying.
to debate Dustin or Steven on
Sure.
my channel?
Sure, if you'd like, yeah, set it up. I'm more than happy to.
I know Big Bad Mama going to do a discussion with Dustin about, I think, evolution. I'm not sure, next Thursday, I think. Yeah, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm good to do an evolution debate if they want to do it. Sure, I'm more than happy to. Have you got my email address?
No.
Okay, let me just pop it in chat for you. It's not exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Do you know that Miss Ahmad is an angel lady?
I did not know that.
No.
She looks kind of angelic. You'll have to explain that to me.
It's a fallen one, I guess. No, Deviant is the angel lady. Remember?
Both are.
Deviant?
Deviant Outcast. She's just somebody that comes on the show every once in a while.
She's a geologist, I think. Egyptian one.
Okay, I put it in the chat, the stream chat.
Okay. I'm still not seeing it though.
Oh, it wasn't in private chat. It's through a stream chat. Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah, it didn't show up. Wait, no, I'd have to go into my email again.
Yeah, it's fine.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
No worries.
Thank you.
Oh, my friend in the UK, yeah, he says Fanny's your aunt. You ever heard that one?
Yep.
Oh.
I'd never use it. I'd never use that statement.
What about Bom's uncle? You ever use that?
Not recently. Maybe I've used it once or twice in my life, but not really.
Jamie says he discovered Kent Hovind on YouTube. That's where I found him too. I mean, because it kind of brought everybody together. I mean, even no matter how anybody feels about either side or about Kent Hovind specifically, it did bring everybody together. We all know each other now, and I think that's cool.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, thanks, Kent. He's probably like, oh man.
I'm not. Look, I still have yet to get onto Whack an Atheist. You've made it as an atheist when you make it onto Whack an Atheist, and it's just like I'm so jealous of all the people that are on there, and he hasn't done me. I keep provoking him. He still hasn't done me. I think he's got nothing to pick on. I think that. He picks on a lot of people for a lot of different things, but there's nothing he can pin down on me. And not that I care anyway. I think it's because everything rolls right off my back. I don't really care. I find it funny.
Yeah, that's the way you got to do it. Because, man, you get your feelings hurt out here. Jamie says you deserve it.
Yay. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I so deserve
it. Wait. That came in right at the last second. Okay. And then he says, I almost certainly saw some of his circulated VHS tapes.
Buy my DVDs.
Man, I wish I would have. I didn't find him until 2015, and it was through a flat Earth video. Not because he believes that, but because of when he talks about sitting next to the guy that works at Harvard or whatever on the airplane, and he's asked if he has a merry-go-round. Have you heard that one?
Oh, yeah.
It's in one of his seminars. He talks about it, and he starts talking about like how if you start spinning it really fast, people will fly off. Well, flat earthers got a hold of that and put it in the whatever series or whatever they do. I don't know. I don't really watch any flat earthers.
You'd have to do a roundabout that rotated once every day. And that's like 15 degrees per hour. It's not sending anybody flying off. Like you're fine on a roundabout that's rotating one rotation a day. You're perfectly. I think anybody could stay on that thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how I found him. Because I'm like, man, I got to hear. I don't know that because I don't know if that would have made me look him up, but I remember finding him right after he got out of prison too. So that was like right away he started making content, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he stays busy, that's for sure.
Sure.
Making everybody
I think
mad.
he's wrong about a lot. I don't know if he makes me mad. He makes me laugh. His latest thing on the ice canopy made me absolutely lose it. I thought that was hilarious.
So do you think he's lying or do you think he's wrong?
I don't
Just
know.
like, you know,
I try not to. I try not to sort of, give motivations to people. I think there's a lot of things that I suspect that whether or not he believes it, he certainly likes making money off of people. So, and there's a few things that have led me to believe that, like in the way that he sort of said, "Hey, you can make your own calendar." No, wait, buy a calendar from me, sort of. So, I can see that, whether or not he believes it, he sure does try to make money out of it. I think that the and the way that he treats the staff there at DAO is pretty bad. I think they should be paid staff, not volunteers. But one day I'm going to run down a finance thing and estimate how much that place pulls in and how much goes out for staff. But yeah, I think. I find it hard to believe that he hasn't absorbed, like from talking with Amarià, from talking with, me, from talking with Grace and talking with all of these people, he has not observed the fundamentals of evolution. I find it hard to believe someone could not. So I have my doubts he has been trying to learn this stuff because he really just doesn't absorb it.
Yeah, I see what
So
you're saying.
whether that's willful ignorance, like he doesn't want to know it, or whether it is, well, he knows it and he's pretending he doesn't, I don't know. I wouldn't claim motivation for that. But with everything, if I get something wrong about the Bible and someone tells me, I go, okay, well, that's not, what I had in my head was wrong. So I won't use that. I'll use, go to something else, or I'll update my information. But he's using the same slides he used 30, 40 years ago, and it's the same wrong information on them that it is now. So it's just, oh boy.
Well, what if he is right?
What if he is right?
Yeah, like what if there is a creator?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't change my life very much. I don't think there's much that I would. Sorry, boo. There's not much that I'd do that would have a lot of conflict with sort of how, as I understand, Christians live. I mean, I don't know how my life would change. If he's right, though, then we need to go back and come up with some sort of model for how to classify organisms into its various related sets, because we know that, for instance, camels and cows are closer than starfish and humans, and we've got a classification system using cladistics to sort of link up how each thing is related. So if they're of different types and sort of different kinds, I don't know how we even classify things as eukaryotes and mammals and sort of this kind of stuff. It all kind of falls down. So if he's right in some way that he's got to come up with a classification system that's actually useful for interrelating all of these different organisms to one another.
Well, Redeemed says, Mark, do you appreciate a creationist who has come to their conclusions thoughtfully, or more so admire those who believe in full faith?
It depends what you mean by faith. I've heard a lot of different definitions. Some people use faith as just confidence or having evidence kind of thing, and some people mean it as belief without evidence or of things unseen, I think is the biblical term for it. So I think I do appreciate more somebody that has sort of sat down and thought about it and come to that conclusion, rather than somebody that's just sort of saying, I've used faith. For me, the problem is that if you're saying faith is evidences of things unseen or things unobserved, I guess you could say, you could do that with anything. I could have faith that there's pixies behind me, and the problem with that kind of faith is it doesn't get you to the truth. It just makes you think you can't be wrong. There's a whole bunch of people that believe a whole bunch of stuff on faith. A lot of flat earthers believe the earth is flat on faith. Doesn't get you to the truth.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But if you're talking about faith as in sort of a reasonable confidence based upon evidence, then yeah, I mean, faith and sort of epistemological standard, it's exactly the same thing. So it depends what you mean by that word.
Yeah, see, I'm not really totally sure, because I'm thinking, I guess, because Aiden asked me one time about faith, and if I think that it takes no evidence to have faith or something like that. And I started to think about it, and I'm like, I don't think so myself, because I have but my personal story doesn't matter to people, and what I've experienced. And then, of course, somebody that's an atheist is going to think, well, this could have been it, or you could have been on drugs, or, whatever. But
Right.
faith, I don't know. Let me look it up and see exactly what the word faith, the definition is.
Well,
But
I mean, but your own experience obviously means something to you, but the problem is that there's all kinds of people saying they've had all kinds of experiences. So we can't sort of just say, hey, because you've had an experience, that it's evidence for anybody else. I
yeah.
think that good evidence has to be evident, i.e., you can show somebody the evidence kind of thing. I think in order to be evidence and not just anecdote, it's got to be something you can show somebody else. Oh, sorry, Gigi, I've totally been monopolizing the chat. I'm sorry.
All right.
But it was good talking with you, mate.
Thank you for coming, Logan, or Gangster Ghost. I always do that.
Yeah, well, I should take off for too long. To be honest with you, I came out here to test out my headset and just to say hi and happy Christmas and everything.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I
No,
like talking
it's okay.
to you.
If you do want to look up faith, I'm more than happy to wait. I'm just saying it's sort of 1:30 at the moment, so I'm not going to stay up too late.
Well, it says faith, complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And then the second one is strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof.
Right.
So
I
he's
think
pretty much right.
Yeah, so I think he's probably using the second definition, because words, they only have usages. There's no definitive way to use a word. But yeah, and so when I hear faith, I kind of think number two, when in a religious context kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I would have to agree with that, because, that's why they call it a faith or a belief, But I think that, I don't know, there's some cases in the Bible where people get, get proof.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think like how to word it, because I don't know what the standard is for you to be like a person that God would actually reach out and prove it. I mean, who do you have to be? What do you got to be, somebody important for that to happen? And I just don't want to promise anyone that. But see, once you get saved, I think the proof comes after that, because you can just ask, that's what I did.
Well, it depends on sort of what God's motivations would be. Like, it's often said to me, well, God wants everyone to believe that he exists and offer repentance. But I don't think that can be the case, because it's sort of an all-powerful God could certainly prove his existence. If a mere human can prove their existence to the world, I don't see why God would be limited to do so. So I kind of had trouble believing that a God who wants me to believe he exists is in some way not showing me that he exists in a way that sort of would appeal to a rational person. So, and the problem with sort of a believing first and then looking for evidence is that that's kind of a confirmation bias, and that's well known in science. If you already have the answer and go out to prove it, you've got to find everything you need to prove that answer. And there's been a lot of studies that have been marred by that kind of thinking. You know, oh, it has to be this thing, so we'll go out and get evidence for it, and you know, it sort of always leads to the conclusion that you want.
See, so, I think that's where Kent's argument comes in, because his idea is that the proof is in creation, and then evolution is saying that it basically isn't created; it's just happening on its own. And you know, these created. Well, because the systems and how it works. I mean, you know, most of these things are symbiotic; they need each other. You know, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm saying that is, to me, I mean, I look at it like it's somebody had to make it. I mean, you know, I can't make anything that works that good, like animals. And
well, I mean, some things work well, some things less well. You know, certainly we have a number of deficiencies as far as certain things go. Like, for instance, we've built computers which are way better at sort of raw data processing than the brain. They've got storage capacity that far outweighs a brain. But we're talking about two different things. We're talking about organics versus human-built things. It's sort of not really comparable. And I look at things like lichen, for instance. Lichen is a symbiotic relationship between algae and fungus, and the fungus sort of dissolves the rock that it lives on, and the algae takes in sunlight. They both depend on each other to live, but they grow incredibly slowly, and they barely hang on to life, kind of thing. It's kind of just this symbiotic relationship. You probably just had algae and fungi that just work together, essentially. I don't see sort of a god required for lichen to cling to a rock and try to survive on the dissolved minerals from the fungus and the photosynthesis from the algae.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know what exactly you're talking about. I know I got some slimy rocks out in my garden, but I don't know if it's the same thing.
Oh, it's just an organism that's a particularly. I mean, it's incredible symbiosis and between two organisms, but I don't. It kind of just hangs on to life on a rock. It's just this sort of pattern of green that grows on the rocks. Yeah.
One thing too also is like birds, and how when birds start chirping in the morning is when the cellulose on the plants start to open or something. I don't know exactly how to word that, but it's like, you know, it's amazing. One thing could bring the whole thing down, you know, like if we didn't have birds anymore and they just weren't, I mean, I don't know how that would happen, but you know, it would make a huge impact. And my thing is how if everything evolved from one thing, how did these things develop, you know, to where they need each other and they can't live without each other? You know, like how did that happen? I mean,
yes. So it's basically that everything that, just say, for instance, you have a whole bunch of fungi and a whole bunch of algae on a rock, and neither can survive alone. You probably had almost all of it die. They'll just die. But it is the ones that just worked together that were the ones that survived. And from working together, they became dependent on one another. And from there, they became a organism of their own. It's much like the mitochondria in humans. It's got its own DNA, mitochondrial DNA. It's kind of this alien living within us. It's probably a symbiosis between a a type of prokaryote and sort of our eukaryotic cells. But once they started to work together, they become dependent on one another until they can't sort of live without one another.
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched a little bit of Aaron stuff, like to hear, like, I don't know. He's hilarious though. He cracks me up. I wish Hint could debate again, but be less like aggressive about it, like to where they could actually have a conversation.
I really didn't like Aaron's debate style, and I don't like to see he used to get really, really angry. The last debate I actually saw him, and he was a lot calmer. Actually, I thought it was really good. So hopefully he's sort of calming down. But yeah, he goes off his chops. He will chew people out and stuff, which probably gets a lot of clicks. But I don't enjoy it. I don't think it's necessary.
I have that problem too, where I flip out on people. I got an anger problem too. So
well, I used to. I used to be one of the angriest people you'd ever meet in your life. I was very full of anger, and had to work on it a lot. So I think working on it is sort of. I think it's very possible to change that, and so anger isn't a real thing. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't. That's going to be hard for me to swallow.
Okay, so anger's a secondary emotion. It's a reaction to things, and what it's in actually reaction to is usually one of two things, either pain or fear, and usually it's the fear response. So we talk about fight or flight in evolution. There are two responses. Now there's another couple. There's freeze and fawn. They're responses to fear stimuli that organisms display, and all animals display fight or flight. So a stag that gets spooked, it's either going to run or it's going to lower its horns and charge. I mean, it can freeze and stuff, but the main two are fight or flight. So anger is the fight response. It's basically you pump a whole load of adrenaline and you get ready to fight something. So the way that I dealt with my anger was to start to ask not what I'm afraid of, but what I'm scared of. And those two aren't necessarily the same thing. Like someone might cut you off, and it's not that you're angry with them, it's you're afraid of being late to work or being disrespected on the road and being pushed down and being that's where it all comes from. And I my mother was a psychologist. I hate that she was right about that, but as I got older, I realized she's right about that, which was a real eye-opener for me. And I hate that my mother was right. It annoys me to no end.
I was going to say, you sound like it. Man, that must have been something growing up with a psychologist, man. You just can't even...
Yeah.
That was hard,
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, it was an experience. Yeah. I mean, I felt like I was being analyzed every second of the day. So that was an interesting experience. But, a lot of the stuff that she told me when I was younger that, I kind of paid no attention to, went my own way. And then later on in life, I'm like, God damn it, she's right. I hate that she's right, but she is, yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that I kind of picked up. But, yeah, not a wonderful place to grow up in, having a psychologist. Not only a psychologist, but a psychologist in Mensa growing up. Now, that's just another story altogether. Holy crap.
Wow. Did your mom and dad stay together? If you don't mind me asking.
No, I don't mind at all. No. My dad was an electrician and my mother was a psychologist, and she actually went into more management and sociology things. So she planned a couple of the cities, sort of the areas around my city, to set up for living and what they would need for, sociological impact, community centres and things like that, access to shopping, stuff like that. Did a lot of unemployment work, and so she did sort of psychology, substance abuse, into sort of employment and helping people out to managing for sociological issues. So yeah, she bounced around a lot. And my dad just did domestic electrical.
That's good. Yeah, I was thinking if she was shrinking you guys, she was definitely to your dad, I'm sure. Analyzing
Probably.
him. Yeah.
But my dad didn't care about being animal. He just didn't care.
Oh.
That was the funny thing. Yeah, it just didn't worry him in the slightest.
Oh,
He
good.
would just do his own thing. So yeah, I think I kind of got his thick skin as well, which is great.
Good, yeah.
But,
Yeah, that is good. You got to have thick skin to be on the internet for sure.
I don't know about that. I think you just have to be sort of kind to yourself about things that happen and the setbacks that you run into. I think you've got to be very, very understanding with yourself and sort of forgive yourself for the missteps that you do, because there's always going to be tons you do. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
well,
And be honest with yourself about your own stuff, At least that's what I try to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Know that when you're having a bad time, you don't just try and ignore it or say, no, I'm not having trouble. It's important to acknowledge the difficulties that you do get into.
Yeah. I can't remember what you were saying. Well, I know you probably want to go because you got to go to bed, but
no, but I kind of I'm interested now because you sort of said, what if I'm wrong? And it's sort of like, well, it's kind of this, well, what if I'm right and there is no God? Like, so a lot of the times we sort of go, oh, well, what if you're wrong, but what if I'm right? How would that change your life any?
Well, I would immediately I don't know. I mean, I guess I really haven't lost anything. I mean, besides a couple of things that I thought that I wasn't allowed to do or shouldn't do. But
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Doesn't
know, not really
necessitate-
much.
Well, it doesn't necessitate
'Cause-
that you go out and do these things that you weren't allowed to do. I mean, you can still just not do them, kind of thing.
Yeah. So probably just the same. I mean, because I've been, me my whole life. So I don't know, not really much. I mean, it would definitely surprise me. It would shock the crap out of me, and I'd probably be sad for a few. But I don't know, because there's not really any way to prove. There's not really any way to know that for sure until we die, right? So I guess I wouldn't really have lost.
Presumably. I mean,
Yeah.
The problem is that trying to falsify God is really hard. Trying to falsify that atheists are correct about the non-existence of God should be easy, right? It should just be God can do it in a second, right? It should be incredibly easy. But proving God doesn't exist is a much harder proposition. Just as proving that any God doesn't exist, like Allah or Buddha or stuff like that, is a difficult proposition. So I think that, I mean, it's kind of, I would be happy if there was sort of, if you say, hey, there's eternal life and I don't have to die and I can be in joy for the rest of eternity kind of thing. That's great. I just don't think that's the case. A lot of these things, they're sort of like, oh, you just don't want this to be true. It'd be great if it was true, but I don't believe in things because it'd be good if they're true. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be great if I won the lotto tomorrow, but I'm not going to go out spending, lavishly because I want it to be true. How nice it would be has got nothing to do with whether it's true or not. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, see, my thing is like I would be so I think the benefits definitely knowing that you're going to be with your loved ones again is helpful. It's definitely helped me a lot. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like one that you love passes, not that makes it true or anything. That doesn't make it true. I'm just like wondering what, it's got to be devastating because you'll.
Well, it's interesting.
Never see them again.
Well, sure, but at the same time, they're never going to be in pain ever again. They're not going to be suffering ever again. They're just past, and it's saddening, and it always makes me feel it's a bit weird the way because Christians feel just as sad, and I don't take anything away from their grieving when they lose loved ones. They absolutely grieve, But I sometimes wonder kind of why, if they're going to heaven and stuff, shouldn't it be a happy thing? But at the same time, I do respect their grieving and they've lost a loved one. But no, I think that it's one of those things that I just accept as a part of life. And it's what, to me, makes life so precious, is because it is finite and it will end. And I think that is the end. And your particles break down, they go back into the universe. No energy is actually destroyed. You just break down, and it's not you anymore. You just return to the universe, like sort of a wave returns to the ocean. It's, you just let it go. But I don't feel like it's sad, and I grieve, but part of that grieving process is accepting that and moving on and carrying on with life that you have. And there's no, in my estimation, there's no eternal life of happiness, but there's no eternal suffering either. There's just if you sort of say, hey, what's it like after you're dead? It's like, well, what was it like before you were born?
Yeah. I see, this is the thing, is if Kent Hovind is right, and there is a price to pay, or there is some kind of rules or whatever, that's why it's so important to him, because he believes, right? Like, he's got faith. I've heard his testimony. Actually, he says it a lot. But if it is, he's trying to, as much abuse as he takes, trying to warn people and tell them. So I think he takes it very seriously. That's why he spends every minute of his time thinking about it. I don't think he's necessarily trying to hurt you guys or take down evolution. I think it's just kind of, it appears that way. But it's very, very serious. And the Lord loves everyone. He wants everybody to get saved, or be saved. Now, whether you want to believe that or not, that's fine. But I think Kent's taking it pretty serious.
Well, I think that sort of when you say that God wants everyone to be saved, I think that there's a lack of action by this God in order to facilitate that. So perhaps God wants everybody to be saved who will believe the stories of the Bible on faith. Perhaps that is true, but I can't acknowledge the truth of that statement, because I could do more to prove that for people to believe in me than God has currently done for me. So I can't believe that he wants everyone to be saved, because if he wanted everyone to be saved, there are certain actions that a God could certainly do that would be a lot more effective than the ones that reputedly he currently carried out. Maybe that's got a couple of sort of, maybe he just wants certain people to be saved, or maybe he wants people to believe on that standard of, hey, you've got to have faith and search and then come to this conclusion. Sure, but I can't do that because my epistemology is based upon a certain methodology that is there to determine whether things are true or false. And I can't believe something like that on that level of evidence. And I don't think it's a case of sort of forcing myself to. I don't think I can sort of convince myself of that. I think that I'm too honest with myself and say, hey, this is the evidence that I have. There's evidence over here for the Buddhists. There's evidence over here for the Hindus. There's evidence over here for the Islam. And none of them meet the criteria that I would believe something of. So if there's a God and they're angry at me, I would just, I honestly believed what I believed in sort of as honestly as possible. And if they want to punish me for that, well, so be it. But, there's nothing I can do about that. All I can do is just be honest with myself.
Yeah. See, I understand what you're saying. I wish I knew. I wish I had the answer, because that's probably the hardest part for the Christian side of it, is that, if it's taken on faith, you get a blessing for it's, bless, or the people that believe without
Yeah.
seeing are blessed, So I mean, it's like, I really don't know how to prove it, and I definitely don't want to take
Yeah.
that away either. So I don't know.
No, I get you. It seems a bit weird though that a god would punish somebody for just simply not believing. I mean, he can obviously, if there is a omniscient, omnipotent god, they can do whatever they want. But it just seems very immoral to me that you'd sort of punish good people that didn't believe in you and reward bad people that did believe in you, kind of thing. It just seems very arbitrary and not very wise or dignified at all. It just seems like an odd thing to do.
Well, then we get into the good and bad conversation again, and what that means, because I don't know. I know I haven't been good, but it's more of it's not as much as believing in the stories. It's believing that Jesus came and died for your sins, and then
Right.
because there's rules we're supposed to follow, and when we don't follow them, there's a punishment, just like in just a society.
Sure.
But the Lord sees everything. That's the thing. We don't get by with speeding without him knowing, But yeah, I don't know if I'm even making sense, but it's he is the substitute. So he's basically taking the punishment. And that's how he wants everybody to be saved. So I mean, I imagine that's how everyone, obviously that's how everybody would get into heaven, is through believing that he came and died and rose again. But I don't know. I don't know how I could prove that. Why? Because he loves us.
No, but I mean, why does anybody have to be punished?
Well, for breaking the rules, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure what all of them are. I know the 10 Commandments, but I think it's a lot more than that. For hurting people. It's basically transgression against other people, because like stealing and lying, and that hurts people, And then not only that, but that keeps people, everybody wants to say, oh, well, if it's not, we didn't need the Bible to tell us, that murder is wrong. And it's like, no, that's written down so that it's not, so he can use it as a legal document, because that's what it is. Legally, he can say now, okay, well, you knew, so now you're gonna get punished for it. I mean, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say now. Just left my mind.
Yeah, but if he wanted to, he could just forgive everybody without killing anybody for it, is I guess my point.
Well, everybody, it says everybody's got to hear it before the day of judgment, I guess. I don't know if that's exactly how it's said. See, I need to get in there and read it myself. I haven't read the whole thing. So have you ever read any of it?
What, the Bible?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've read it cover to cover once. I've read sections a lot. I have a working knowledge. I mean, I certainly am no expert, but I certainly do have a working knowledge. I've probably read more than most Christians, to be honest with you. I usually know a bit more than most Christians that I've come across.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wish I would. I got to do it, but I'm just not. I have no. I can't focus in a book. It's just I need to listen to it or something. I got to do something. I don't know, but yeah, you've definitely read more than most people I know, most Christians that I know. And then when I don't know. I just, the whole other version thing and all that, I don't even want to get into all that, but yeah.
So do you believe in like the fire and brimstone hell kind of thing?
Yeah. Like,
do you think that
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I get you. Do you think that like sort of someone like me deserves to be tortured for eternity?
No. That's why I want you believe. Like, I want you to. I would be going there too.
What difference would that make,
Well, I don't know. That's just the rules. That's the way, that's what he, it's, yeah, I don't know. That's just the rules. And I got to just follow them. I don't understand everything. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Think about it a lot, though.
I guess, well, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of this sort of weird thing where you're sort of simply taking this arbitrary criteria and either punishing or, because I mean, don't get me wrong, you're no serial killer. Well, I don't know you. Maybe you are, but you have people, and we all do wrong stuff, right? Like we all do things that are wrong, but there's definitely worse people morally, out there than others, and I just feel like it's a weird standard to have, to sort of go, well, if you believe in me, I'm going to give you eternal rewards, and if you don't, I'm going to sort of punish you for all eternity. To me, it seems more like a church or organization trying to get people to believe in what they're sort of saying. So they're sort of saying, hey, if you don't believe, we're going to punish you.
Yeah, see, that's what I got. I was gonna say, if anything, it definitely keeps people in line. I don't like to be lied to or stolen from. So if there's rules out there and they aren't afraid to, if they're just gonna break them for, because they don't think there's any consequences, well, that sucks. So I mean, it's been pretty good, I think.
What do you mean, no consequences?
Like, if there was no rules and there was no punishment for anything you did, like Hitler, to just kill a bunch of innocent people, and then nothing happens. There's no punishment. At least the Bible's given you this is what's going to happen if you do this, and then this is your way out.
Yeah, and I don't think there was no consequences. I mean, Hitler ended up shooting himself in a bunker. I think that's a pretty sort of severe consequence. Did it make up for everything wrong he did? Probably not. But again, I don't believe in things because I want them to be true, or it's comforting to think that Hitler's being charcoal grilled somewhere after his death. I only sort of believe in things even if it's a hard truth. A lot of people will take sort of an easy line. I don't. I will only take the hard truth, and I think from what I've seen, the truth is that the consequences that we have for the ills that we do are generally a horrible life. That I mean, I've seen a lot of people that have very wealthy and are very cutthroat in their business, and they're miserable pricks. They just are. I would rather have a love-filled life, which is way more fulfilling, and So I was having this conversation with a psychologist called Christopher Mouty, like what actually makes a good life, what do humans need to have a fulfilled and a comfortable, sort of psychologically comfortable, I mean, like a comfort-filled life, a life of contentment. And it was really fascinating, sort of the things that we went in, and it isn't what you think. It's sort of it's less. I mean, obviously you do need to have a certain level of security, but if you start breaking relationships, your life goes downhill and rather rapidly. So all of these things you've said, like lying and stealing, it's more the lack of the betrayal of confidence in the relationships around you that are what causes these things to happen. So I don't think there's no consequences for that, even if there's it's not against the law to drink heavily and slag off all of your neighbors and stuff. It's going to have consequences.
Yeah, that's true. I understand that.
But
yeah,
I would like to think that you're sort of talking about objective morals kind of thing. There's this set in stone morals, and I don't think they exist. It'd be nice if they existed, but I don't think they do. So,
I know. The way I look at like the government, in America anyway, is that there's rules that God put down, and our government is basically the mediator. Like they enforce it, the enforcement, to keep everybody. Now, I'm not saying that it's like directly from the Bible, but I think that that's how it works. Like, where do these rules come from? Where does the Constitution come from? In the bottom line, what keeps people on that line? What keeps people from just doing whatever they want? And what do you
Well,
think about Jesus? Do you think he existed?
Oh, I think there was an itinerant preacher by that name wandering around. I don't think he rose from the dead. I don't think there's certainly not enough evidence for me to believe that. And a lot of sort of contradictory statements and things that would lead me to believe that isn't true. And so your first thing about laws and where do they come from? Essentially, we look at social fabric, and what's more important is the social contract. Now, it was based upon a lot of work of John Locke, who the founding fathers sort of really referenced, and his idea of the relationship between the governed and the governors, basically people that ruled and the people being ruled. So we basically agree to follow the laws they lay down. In exchange, they protect certain rights that we have as a part of that social contract. I don't think there's not much in the Bible that has made it into the laws. I mean, if you look at the 10 Commandments, there's only a couple of them that, do not murder, do not steal. The other ones aren't laws, not in the US anyway. So I don't think we do get the laws from the Bible. I think that we get them from we get them from a understanding of social cohesion between humans, and I think that all of these moral standards, from the Bible to the newer ones like secular humanism, to the older ones like the Code of Nama, which preceded the Bible, I think all of them are an attempt to get people to work as part of social cohesion. I think we just made them up. I mean, if you look at some of the in the Old Testament, they're shocking. Kill somebody that works on the Sabbath kind of thing. It's pretty horrendous. It's got one in there: if your son drinks and is lazy, then take him out in front of the temple and stone him to death. These weren't people with a sort of a very sophisticated idea of morality. They were very, very limited in their understanding of consequences of doing these kind of things, and the suffering that would have put on people. So you can't live up to the morals in the Bible anymore, because so many of them they would be illegal nowadays, quite frankly. And so I think, but you were asking about Jesus, and there were a few things that he said that were quite good, and a few things that weren't, I don't think were very good at all. I think that I have some problems with some of the Sermon on the Mount kind of stuff, especially the sort of thought crime. If you look upon a woman with lust in your heart, you have committed adultery and stuff. It's just, it's kind of very, very sort of big brotherish kind of thing. I find, that kind of offensive. Well, not offensive, just not enlightened, I guess, where we sort of don't, we don't charge people for what they think. We understand that we sort of have these weird thoughts that come from nowhere, and we don't have to beat ourselves up about them. They're just weird thoughts, and we don't have to act on them. It's why we only prosecute people for their actions, not their thoughts. So,
Well, I know the Bible says there's no authority but from God. That's basically why I said that about the government. But with Jesus talking about the lust, and you're looking upon a woman with lust, I think that it's stay away from that idea. Just don't even do it, because you don't want to fall into something and do something. If you're not married, or if the person's married, or if maybe it's a rapist thinking about it, I don't know. But I can kind of understand that.
But I mean, like, for somebody growing up and is very young, to tell them not to look upon a woman with lust, any teenager that hasn't, done that and then had a relationship afterwards, like, I don't know how people are supposed to look at one another if not for, hey, that person's attractive or not attractive, especially when you're younger and you haven't got any prior commitments. It's impossible. It's an impossible standard. And that young man may not do anything, or but they're certainly going to do it. Whoever said that had no understanding of the human mind. We have these thoughts, and weird thoughts come up. Like I've been on a train platform and I'm like, oh, I wonder I could push that person. I'm like, wait, where did that come from? That's a weird thought. But I'd never act on it. That's the thing. I would never ever act on it. But it's just weird thoughts come up, mostly because of the nature of the human brain having all these different things bubbling up to the surface. Humans are complex. We can't just sort of say, hey, here's a simple rule for all human thought.
See, I'm not sure. I don't know. I could be wrong about this, but I'm not sure if it's a sin to think about that. But I think that when you start thinking about it, it brings you to that. Is what is the maybe I could be wrong about that, but because it says what comes out of the mouth defiles you. So maybe that was just advice to keep you from going down that path. But I don't know. See, you know more about it than I do, which is sad. It's definitely sad.
It's okay. It's just one of those things that I kind of find objectionable, but that's okay. But there was some. I do like the love thy neighbor thing, and that's nice sentiment, and a lot of the sort of Taoist religions and things have that kind of, and Buddhist sentiments have that kind of thing. As well as Jain as well. So I mean, there's a few good ideas bouncing around. I just don't see why I would believe that this one religion has sort of has any kind of influence at all, apart from it just the biggest one in the Western world, and that's all. Sorry, I'm getting really tired. I do apologize. I'm probably going to have to.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. It was a good conversation. I wish I wasn't so tired. It's getting late. But thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. We'll talk again.
Have a good night.
I want to give a big thank you to every single channel member who does so much to help me and the community have a fantastic time and keep producing more content. Thank you so much, everybody.